Hello, beautiful Libra. If these words have reached you on June 28th or June 29th, trust that there may be a reason for that. A quiet shift in value is beginning to move through your life, bringing the possibility of new resources, new opportunities, and greater stability. Yet at the same time, something that has weighed heavily on your heart may be preparing to leave. Over the next few moments, we will explore why abundance and release often arrive together, what may be changing around you, and how you can move through this transition without losing either your blessings or your sense of self. If you feel ready to welcome what life is preparing for you, leave a gentle confirmation below this video. I am ready to receive blessings and release what no longer aligns. That comment is more than a simple statement. It is a way of acknowledging the path opening before you and consciously stepping into it. If this message resonates, consider liking and sharing the video so these reflections and positive values can reach others who may need them as well. To understand why opportunity and separation often appear side by side during significant chapters of a Libra's life, we need to begin with something deeper. We need to look at the soul nature of Libra and the role this sign carries within the Zodiac. Libra is guided by Venus. Yet beyond beauty or relationships, this energy reflects the search for balance, harmony, and meaningful connection. It is the force that encourages growth through understanding, cooperation, and the willingness to see beyond one side of any situation. That is why Libra often serves as a bridge between what has been and what is trying to emerge. You are not here simply to maintain peace at any cost. You are here to create balance where imbalance exists. Through years of observing charts and personal journeys, I have noticed that when Libra stands in the right environment, relationships become healthier, conversations become clearer, and life begins to flow more naturally. Yet because of this role, you are often placed in situations that eventually become too limiting for who you are becoming. There are seasons when you try to adapt. You tell yourself to be more patient, more understanding, more willing to compromise. Yet somewhere deep inside, there is a quiet feeling that something no longer fits. It is not because you lack gratitude or because you are asking for too much. It is because your soul is seeking a level of alignment that your current situation can no longer provide. This is something I want to share very honestly. Many Libras are not struggling because of a lack of money. They are exhausted because too much of their energy has been spent maintaining relationships, obligations, and environments that have already completed their purpose. The issue is often not financial scarcity. The issue is continuing to hold on to people, roles, or situations that no longer belong to the life you are growing into. In astrology, when Libra's natural desire for harmony becomes suppressed, it does not disappear. It can become inattention, emotional fatigue, or the feeling that you are constantly adjusting yourself for the comfort of others. Life has a way of responding when that imbalance lasts too long. Sometimes the adjustment arrives through a financial opportunity. Sometimes it arrives through a separation. Either way, the purpose is the same: to help restore alignment. The lesson here is simple, though not always easy. The person who recognizes a new path first is often the one who feels the discomfort of change before anyone else. Libra is not here to remain in situations that have stopped growing. You are here to move through important turning points. Every meaningful transition asks you to loosen your grip on something familiar before something new can enter. I know many Libras have wondered why larger opportunities often arrive alongside emotional challenges. Why do new possibilities appear at the same time that a person, place, or role begins to fade away? The answer is connected to your deeper nature. Growth for you comes through choosing what is truly aligned, not through remaining comfortable. If life has felt unchanged for a very long time, it may simply be showing you that your soul is ready for more than your current circumstances can offer. If these words speak to you, pause for a moment and ask yourself something honestly. Have you ever felt that your heart had outgrown the environment around you? Have you felt larger than the role you keep playing? Larger than the expectations others place on you, or larger than the relationships you have worked so hard to maintain? If the answer is yes, that is not arrogance. It may be your inner wisdom showing you what is ready to change. If you sense that you are standing at an important crossroads, leave this gentle confirmation below the video. I allow myself to step into a more deserving space. That message is not for anyone else. It is a conversation with yourself, a reminder that you are ready to accept responsibility for the person you are becoming. In astrology, money is never only about material gain. It often reflects the value you are willing to recognize within yourself. When Libra releases what no longer aligns, new financial movement has room to enter. When old structures fall away, new possibilities can begin to take shape. If these insights feel meaningful, please like and share this video so others experiencing a similar transition can receive the same encouragement. And this is only the beginning, because when your soul expands beyond an old environment, life rarely remains unchanged. It begins guiding you toward something different with remarkable clarity. Now I want you to slow down for a moment. There is no need to rush and no reason to worry. What is approaching is not a random event. It is part of a cycle that has been unfolding quietly behind the scenes for a long time. In a Libra chart, when Jupiter begins activating the second house, or the eighth house, a significant doorway begins to open. This is about more than money. It involves the relationship between personal value and karmic value. One side reflects what you create through your abilities, effort, and choices. The other reflects what returns after all the responsibilities, sacrifices, and lessons you have carried over time. Jupiter does not rush abundance into your life. It expands what you are already prepared to manage wisely. I want to share this perspective gently. Money does not arrive simply because you need it. It arrives when you are capable of holding it without losing your balance. When Jupiter activates these areas of a Libra chart, it often signals that you have spent years learning about self-worth, respect, and personal boundaries. Others may not have noticed those lessons, but life certainly has. Life has seen the moments when you stopped minimizing your value just to gain approval. It has seen the times when you chose authenticity over validation. It has seen you become mature enough that money is no longer something you use to prove your worth to anyone else. It has seen that you have grown beyond the need to measure yourself through comparison, and that you are mature enough not to use money as a way to prove that you are better than others. Because of that growth, the doorway to new blessings begins to open. Yet we cannot overlook the influence of Pluto and Saturn during this period. These planets are not known for offering effortless rewards. Pluto reaches beneath the surface, while Saturn examines what is truly strong enough to last. When both energies call for a shift in values, they ask you to leave outdated beliefs about money behind. Ideas such as using money to fill emotional emptiness, to keep someone from drifting away, or to create a temporary sense of safety can no longer support where you are going. The lesson of this season is both simple and profound. Money is meant to expand your ability to create positive impact, not to shield you from unresolved pain. If we once relied on financial success to quiet a feeling of lack within yourself, Pluto encourages you to face that wound directly so it can finally begin to heal. I want you to hear this message slowly. Money is not arriving so you can prove something to the world. It arrives to help you live more honestly as the person you truly are. When Libra understands this, financial flow stops feeling like pressure and begins to feel like support. It becomes a resource that allows you to live with greater purpose, contribute more meaningfully, and create a life that feels more balanced. Many Libras move into this chapter carrying both hope and uncertainty at the same time. There is hope because a new horizon is becoming visible. There is uncertainty because part of you already senses that life cannot remain exactly as it has been. That feeling is completely natural. Every expansion asks you to release a version of yourself that can no longer travel with you. If you sense opportunities drawing closer, while your heart experiences deep and unusual emotional currents, it may be a sign that this karmic money axis is becoming active. You are being invited into a larger role, one where money becomes connected to responsibility as much as enjoyment. So I want to ask you something, and I encourage you to answer honestly. What do you want money to help you build? Greater security? More freedom of choice, the ability to shape your future, or a value you once felt afraid to prioritize? If you feel called to do so, leave your answer in the comments, not for anyone else, but as a way of recognizing your own truth. If this message brings comfort or clarity, please like and share this video. Sometimes the right message at the right moment reminds people that they are not alone while growing into a new version of themselves. Before we continue, remember this. Whenever a significant flow of money enters a Libra's life, it is not only a blessing, it is also a subtle examination of personal values, because abundance rarely arrives by itself. Something else is often moving quietly alongside it. If the earlier section explored the deeper nature of Libra, then this part asks us to slow down and observe what is happening behind the scenes. Not because anything needs to be delayed, but because greater clarity comes when we pay attention. What is unfolding now is not random. It is part of an astrological cycle that has been developing for a very long time. When Jupiter activates the 2nd or 8th house in a Libra chart, the connection between personal resources and karmic resources becomes especially powerful. This is where self-worth and universal return begin to meet. One side reflects the effort, abilities, and choices you have invested throughout your journey. The other reflects what is returned after the responsibilities, lessons, and burdens you have carried, including those no one else ever noticed. Jupiter does not create abundance through luck alone. It expands what has become strong enough to sustain growth. When it moves through these areas of a Libra chart, it often signals that an important stage of maturity around self-worth has been completed. Old limitations connected to boundaries, respect, and personal value no longer fit the person you are becoming. That shift creates room for a different kind of financial flow to enter your life. At the same time, Pluto and Saturn remind us that this is not only a season of receiving, it is also a season of purification. Pluto explores the hidden motivations behind material desires, while Saturn tests the strength of the value system supporting them. Together, they encourage a deeper review of what money truly means to you. Money is no longer meant to fill an emotional void, hold on to people, or create borrowed comfort. Those perspectives gradually lose their power. The lesson here remains clear and deeply important. Money is a tool for extending positive influence, not a hiding place for wounds that still need attention. When the karmic money axis becomes active, every financial choice begins reflecting the values you carry inside. Anything misaligned eventually reveals itself. Anything authentic receives the opportunity to grow. There is an important truth that deserves to be heard slowly. Money does not arrive so you can prove your worth. It arrives to support a life that feels more genuine and aligned with who you really are. Once this becomes clear, financial flow no longer feels heavy. It becomes a resource that helps life gain greater depth, meaning, and the ability to contribute to something beyond yourself. During this phase, many Libras experience two emotions that seem to contradict each other. One is hope, as new possibilities begin to emerge. The other is a quiet uncertainty, as intuition recognizes that change is underway. This emotional mixture is a natural part of growth. Every new chapter asks you to release something familiar. When opportunities begin appearing alongside strong inner feelings, it often signals that this karmic cycle is active in a meaningful way. You are not simply being invited to receive more. You're being invited to step into a role where money becomes connected to responsibility, choice, and long-term impact. At this moment, there is an important question worth asking. The abundance approaching your life, what do you want it to build? Greater stability, more freedom, a future shaped with intention, or a value you once placed at the bottom of your priorities? Giving a name to that purpose, whether privately or through a short comment below the video, can also become a way of guiding the energy that is currently in motion. If these reflections bring you comfort or a greater sense of clarity, sharing them with someone else can also be a meaningful act of connection. Sometimes the right message arrives at exactly the right time and reminds people that they are not alone, while rebuilding their lives and redefining what truly matters. Before we continue, there is something important to keep in mind. Whenever a significant wave of abundance enters a Libra's life, it arrives not only as a blessing, but also as a quiet examination of values and choices. Because money rarely arrives by itself. Alongside financial change, another transformation often begins to unfold. After the shifts surrounding money, relationships, and personal growth, a different phase starts to emerge. This stage is not dramatic or loud, and it does not ask you to fight for your place or prove your worth. Instead, it reflects a deeper expression of your inner balance, where wisdom begins guiding choices more than impulse. In astrology, immature energy reacts quickly. It responds to emotions, urgency, and the feeling that every decision must happen immediately. Mature energy operates differently. It knows when to move forward, but it also understands when a pause is the wisest choice. For Libra, this lesson carries special significance because you often feel responsible for maintaining harmony, carrying emotional weight, and keeping situations together long after they stop serving you. Yet true strength is not found in endless accommodation. It is found in recognizing when something has reached its natural conclusion without feeling guilty for acknowledging it. There are times when you continue simply because you have invested so much of yourself. You remain in a relationship because of shared history, or you stay committed to a path because turning away feels difficult after coming so far. But mature wisdom does not measure value by how long you have stayed. It measures value by how honestly you are meeting the present moment. You no longer need to become stronger. You simply need to become more truthful with yourself. Truthful about emotions that feel depleted. Truthful about connections that require you to diminish your own needs. And truthful about choices that quietly pull you away from who you are becoming. This stage carries an important human lesson. Not everyone is meant to accompany the next version of your life. That does not make anyone wrong, and it does not make you better than them. It simply means that certain paths, priorities, and rhythms no longer move in the same direction. For many Libras, this realization can be especially challenging because you often believe that with enough patience, understanding, or compromise, everything can eventually work out. Yet the astrology surrounding this period encourages clarity rather than endless endurance. Choosing to step back at the appropriate moment is not an act of rejection. It is an act of protecting your energy. When your energy remains intact, you enter the next chapter with a heart that still has the capacity to create, connect, and grow. There may be moments of emptiness during this transition. Familiar conversations may fade, and old routines may no longer offer comfort. Yet this quiet space serves an important purpose. It allows you to hear your own voice more clearly than before and reconnect with what genuinely matters. As this happens, you may begin noticing that some of the pressure you carried was never truly yours to begin with. Some emotions belong to other people, and some responsibilities were accepted out of habit rather than necessity. Mature energy does not ask you to respond to everything. It teaches discernment. It reminds you that not every invitation requires acceptance, and not every disagreement requires immediate resolution. Some situations simply need space. Once released, they often settle naturally on their own. If this describes your current season, allow yourself to slow down, not because you are giving up, but because you are reconnecting with your center. Ask yourself a simple and honest question. What is draining my energy the most, and why am I still holding on to it? If you would like, share your answer in the comments. What lesson about letting go are you learning right now? It could involve a relationship, a habit, a role, or even an identity you have spent years trying to maintain. If these words resonate with you, consider liking and sharing this video so others can find encouragement during their own process of growth and release. Many people are learning the same lesson you are learning, the art of recognizing when it is time to stop forcing what no longer fits. And when Libra moves through this stage, when decisions begin coming from inner clarity instead of emotional pressure, another doorway starts to open. This is no longer simply a test, it becomes a reward. Beyond this point, expansion begins replacing loss. After moving through periods of purification around money, relationships, and personal identity, Libra enters a very different space. This chapter is no longer about proving value. It is about allowing your value to be recognized naturally. In astrology, this often corresponds with the activation of the 10th house, the area connected to career, reputation, contribution, and the impact you leave on the world around you. The 10th house is not concerned with surface-level success. It does not measure achievement by speed, titles, or temporary gains. Instead, it focuses on sustainability. It reflects who you become when greater responsibility arrives, how you treat others, and how you choose to use your influence. When the 10th house becomes active in the Libra chart, money stops being only a personal reward. It becomes connected to contribution and responsibility. The work you do begins affecting more people than yourself. This is where a different form of prosperity emerges, one rooted in meaning rather than accumulation. There is something important to understand here. Libra is often at its most abundant when there is no longer a need to prove anything. You do not have to prove your strength. You do not have to prove your competence. You do not have to prove your worthiness. When achievement is no longer used as protection for the ego, success tends to arrive with far greater ease. At this point, many Libras discover a quiet truth. You do not need to move faster. You need to stand more firmly in who you are. You do not need to speak more loudly. You need to express yourself with clarity and intention. As that happens, people naturally begin to trust your presence, respect your perspective, and connect with the vision you carry. The deepest lesson of the 10th house is this: genuine success is not about standing above others. Genuine success is about standing firmly enough that others feel supported by your presence. When Libra steps into this role, leadership no longer comes only through maintaining harmony or understanding others. It begins to emerge through steady presence, clear judgment, and a deeper sense of responsibility. You may start to realize that the people or situations that left your life did not actually take anything away from you. In many ways, they helped guide you back to yourself. What returned was a version of you that no longer depends on outside approval. A version that no longer feels obligated to maintain an image that has outgrown its purpose. A version grounded enough to understand where you belong and why you have chosen that place. That quiet certainty becomes one of the greatest gifts of this chapter. During this period, your professional path may begin moving in a new direction. It may not be a dramatic change, but it can feel deeper and more meaningful. It could involve greater responsibility, a leadership opportunity, or work that serves a larger community. The exact form matters less than the feeling behind it. You begin to notice that your motivation is changing. You are no longer doing things primarily to receive something in return. Instead, you are acting because your choices feel aligned with who you are becoming. When work comes from that place of integrity, abundance tends to arrive differently. It comes without unnecessary pressure. It comes without chaos or the feeling that peace must be sacrificed for success. Money becomes a natural result rather than the main objective. It supports the values you are living instead of pulling you away from them. If this is where you are now, allow yourself to appreciate the road that brought you here. The endings, pauses, and separations that once seemed disappointing have each contributed to your growth. They guided you toward a place where worthiness no longer has to be earned because you have already recognized it within yourself. There is an important question worth asking. Who do you want to become over the next 6 months? Not how much money you want to make, and not what title you hope to achieve, but what kind of person you want to be while holding greater responsibility. Do you want to be calmer, clearer, more balanced, or a more positive influence on those around you? If you feel comfortable, you may share your answer in the comments. Sometimes naming the future version of yourself becomes the first conscious step toward bringing it into reality. If these reflections strengthen you or restore a sense of trust in your path, please like and share this video, not to showcase achievement, but to encourage a healthier understanding of value, responsibility, and abundance. Before we move forward, there is one idea worth holding close. The path ahead for Libra is no longer about competing or proving anything. It is about creating a meaningful impact. When you walk that path with awareness, life often responds in ways that feel deeply significant because another message is waiting to reveal itself. This message is not rooted in efforts alone. It comes from alignment between who you are and the direction you have chosen. If you are still listening, that says something important. Not because you are searching for a miracle, but because somewhere inside you recognize that what is unfolding now carries a deeper meaning. There is a natural order moving through these experiences. Opportunity arrives to create movement. Endings arrive to create freedom. Both can be blessings when they are understood with awareness. This is more than a comforting idea. It is a lesson reflected in astrology, personal growth, and human experience. When you look back on your journey, you may realize that none of it was wasted. Every step contributed something valuable, and every loss carried a purpose. Money enters the life of Libra not to transform you into someone different, but to help you become more fully yourself. It arrives after lessons about self-worth, healthy boundaries, and authentic value have been learned. It comes when you are mature enough to stop using money as protection against fear and begin using it as a resource to build a life that reflects meaning, contribution, and balance. Endings serve a similar purpose. They are not punishments. They help clear away attachments that have completed their role in your life. Sometimes those attachments appear as relationships that no longer grow alongside you. Sometimes they appear as identities or responsibilities that required you to shrink yourself in order to belong. When these things leave, the empty space they create is not meant to diminish you. It is meant to make room for something that fits more naturally with who you are becoming. There may have been moments when you questioned why growth seemed to arrive through so many endings. You may have wondered why every glimpse of light seemed accompanied by some form of discomfort. Yet when viewed from a wider perspective, each act of release prevented you from becoming trapped in a version of yourself that had already been outgrown. Libra was never meant to live disconnected from its own truth. To create a life that feels expansive and meaningful, you must learn how to release what no longer aligns, not through resistance or frustration, but through awareness, acceptance, and trust in your own inner wisdom. Right now, there is no need to rush. There is no requirement to make major decisions immediately. What matters most is giving yourself permission to pause and recognize how far you have come. Notice how much more clearly you understand yourself now, and how much stronger your boundaries have become in places that once caused pain. If you feel as though you are standing between what has ended and what has not fully begun, trust that this is an important space to occupy. It is a place where the past no longer controls your direction, yet the future has not demanded immediate action. It is a place where choices can be made from clarity rather than fear. If you are ready to welcome the next chapter of your life, leave this gentle confirmation below the video. I allow myself to receive blessings and release what no longer aligns. That affirmation is not for anyone else. It is a way of hearing your own voice, acknowledge what you are welcoming and what you are ready to set down. And if this video brings you comfort, understanding, or even a small sense of peace, please like and share it. Not to spread sadness, but to share healing and encouragement. Many other Libras are moving through quiet transformations of their own and may need this reminder just as much as you do. There is one thing that deserves to be remembered above all else. You did not come here to become perfect. You came here to become genuine. Genuine with your emotions, genuine with your boundaries, genuine with the deepest desires of your heart. When you begin living from that level of honesty, life has a way of bringing opportunities that feel genuinely aligned with who you are. Everything you have recently experienced was never meant to diminish you. It was meant to sharpen your understanding. You have become clearer about your worth, clearer about the person you are growing into, and clearer about the standards you are no longer willing to compromise. That clarity is not simply a result of the journey, it becomes the foundation for everything that follows. Yet there is still another layer to this story. As Libra moves through these lessons surrounding abundance, release, and personal values, something powerful begins to emerge from within. It is a different kind of strength, a strength that does not rely on pressure, urgency, or the need to prove anything. It leads through presence rather than force, through balance rather than reaction, and through authenticity rather than performance. This quiet power grows each time you choose to remain true to yourself, and that power becomes an important key to the chapter that is beginning to unfold. It is a chapter where you stop chasing after what is meant for you and begin moving alongside it with greater trust and awareness. I will share more about that in the next video.